Viewers, good evening. This has indeed been a very distressing week for us as we have lost two of the most versatile actors that the Indian film industry has seen. First, the highly charismatic Irrfan Khan, and then, within 24 hours, the iconic Rishi Kapoor. From a chocolate boy hero in his 1973 debut film Bobby that made him an overnight star, to his highly acclaimed negative roles in films like Agnipath and D-Day, Rishi Kapoor had done it all. Irrfan Khan, on his part, could breathe life into every character he played. Look at Pan Singh Tomar, Irrfan's 2012 film in which he played a real-life former soldier and athletics champion who becomes a violent Chambal Valley rebel following a catastrophic land dispute. Or look at his Hollywood ventures. In Danny Boyle's Slumdog Millionaire, he was the incredulous police inspector putting the screws on the plucky young hero Dev Patel. While in Ang Lee's film Life of Pi, he was a more calm presence as the narrator spinning the fascinating tale of a tiger and a child lost at sea. Well, to talk about Indian cinema after Irrfan Khan and Rishi Kapoor, and generally look at the world of films and filmmaking in the days of COVID and after, I am joined from New Delhi by celebrated actor Adil Hussain. In Mumbai, I have filmmaker Rupa Barua. Also in New Delhi, I have filmmaker and critic Utpal Barpuzari and actor Dipannita Sharma. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special show. Adil Hussain, first of all, I'm going to you. Thank you for joining me from your residence in New Delhi. Adil, basically, you had acted with Irrfan Khan in Life of Pi. You had known Irrfan very well. You had seen all the movies, or most of the important movies of Rishi Kapoor. We are already distressed by this pandemic called COVID, and then we get this two very, very saddening news of these two of our most, prominent film actors passing away. Your thoughts, Adil?
I have no thoughts. Mostly it's emotions. When I got the news of Irrfan's passing away yesterday, I was having a nap in the afternoon, and I got a call from NDTV, and I know the person who called, and she said that Irrfan passed away. And I was very surprised by the words and reactions which came out from my mouth, and I felt like a punch in my heart, which I have tweeted about, and even overwhelmed till today. I was looking at another report on Irrfan. He wrote a wonderful, beautiful letter to a writer of Urdu language that he wanted to make a film on his story. And in the middle of that, again, this morning, Rishi Kapoor passed away. And I was just remembering, as you have mentioned in your opening remarks, that we grew up watching him as a teenage hero. We were teenagers,
yeah,
and we had our hormones kicking in, and we felt like to be him. The kind of things that he used to wear, the costume he used to wear, the sunglasses he used to wear, the muffler that he used to wear. So I don't know, and COVID-19 on top of that, it seemed like 2020 is started with disasters. And I guess that as a practitioner of the craft of acting and believe that I pursue art, I feel that this is a very testing time for all of us to keep calm and to keep composure in order to maintain our locked down life. So I feel devastated. I feel a sense of great loss.
Yeah.
And though I was prepared for his sort of not death, but I thought that he would be pulling through this. Irrfan, especially for last 2 years, I had been getting informations and from the reliable sources that he's recovering, and then he relapsed.
Right.
So it is a very testing time, Wasbir. Thank you for asking me these questions, and I'm very happy to share this with the people.
Adil, you acted with Irfan in the very, very acclaimed film Life of Pi. Can you give my viewers an insight into Irfan the man? Very, very humble origins, very, very down to earth, very low profile, yet what power in his acting.
Well, very strangely, since I live in Delhi, I just met him maybe 4 or 5, or maybe little more than that, few times, and during the promotions of Life of Pi, because we never had a scene together. I was playing his father when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So we never shared screen together, and I met him during the promotions, and I remember one incident very beautifully. That one night, Ang Lee, Irfan's wife Sutapa, Irfan, Suraj Sharma, and David Lee, Ang Lee's assistant, and I were very hungry, and we were staying in JW Marriott in Juhu, Bombay, and we walked out, and we wanted to find something to eat. So we walked out in the middle of the night, and we found some place to eat on the streets. And in the middle, so he said, let's take some photographs.
Yeah.
So I still have that photograph with him. Like, he was like a child with Ang Lee. It's like he was childlike. And that he possesses this innocence. I'm saying possesses because I just refuse to believe that he has gone.
Yeah.
He possesses this innocence, and he embodies the roles with such vulnerability that he allows the audience to sort of, to peep into his personal chambers of
Right.
his
Right.
emotions, of his psyche, of his
Yeah.
very, very intimate spaces. And he was a very, very down to earth and very quiet kind of a person. And I'm very lucky to have acted with him. I just came to know, I thought we are contemporary, but it seems like I'm senior to him. Though he joined film industry way before than me. I joined much later in 2010.
Right. Yeah.
He went to Bombay much before. So, but in spite of that I haven't really known him. But still, I felt that extreme sense of pain when he left. And because of the reasons, I feel that the way that he made himself so vulnerable and almost like, like Hanuman tears opens one's heart to show Ram and Sita. He had the capability to open his heart, almost like tearing apart his heart in order to give access to the audience to see his intimate chambers of reality.
Right. Let me bring in Rupa Barua, filmmaker. Rupa, we have iconic actors in our midst. For the fans, they're often larger than life images, but suddenly they leave us. The only thing they leave behind is memories, our memories, and a whole body of work. My question is, what thoughts cross your mind, Rupa, when you think of Rishi Kapoor and Irrfan Khan today?
Yes, we have lost two of the biggest actors of Hindi cinema, and it's been very tragic, and the heavens are stronger for them. Both were very, very different in the way they acted, but the way they came and they went and touched the audience was beyond anything that we've ever seen in our lives. So it's not a good moment for us.
Now, Rupa, why, according to you, is Irrfan Khan turning out to be the most missable actor in Indian cinema, at least going by the outpourings in the social media in the last 3 to 4 days?
Right. He was the most versatile of them all. I mean, if you look at him, all the way from a sensitive portrayal in The Lunchbox to a hero slash lover in Maqbool, to a Pansing Tomar, to a business tycoon in Jurassic Park, to a father in Life of Pi, some of the biggest Hollywood movies, all Oscar winners, those two particularly. I mean, where do you have that repertoire? It's very, very it's going to be missed because nobody has that repertoire, from this to that, and very convincingly. We loved him as the Makbul. We loved him as namesake, Gogol in namesake. We loved him in Pansing Tomar. We loved him as the business tycoon, the Indian Gujarati business tycoon in Jurassic Park. Where would you get that? It's a loss. It's a huge loss.
So true, Rupa. Utpal Bharpachari, let me bring you here. It has indeed been a terrible week for Indian cinema, Utpal.
Yeah, exactly. It has been an unbelievable 24 hours actually. Two of the most brilliant actors and also two of the most loved, film personalities have gone, and it happened so suddenly that the whole country has gone into is kind of shock, I should say.
Now, Utpal, you have been a film critic, you are also a filmmaker. Bobby in 1973 to 102 Not Out in 2018. Rishi Kapoor dominated Bollywood for nearly 5 decades. For which film would you remember Rishi Kapoor the most?
That's a very tough question actually, because he has acted in all kinds of films. And of course, we know that he started off with, Mera Naam Joker. I mean, he had a very small, special appearance in Sri 420 in a song. But his actual debut was in Mera Naam Joker as a child artist, for which he had got the national award.
Yeah.
And then he made his debut as an adult actor, as an grown-up actor with Bobby, and which was a blockbuster hit, and he immediately became the heartthrob of millions. And after that, he has acted in many, many films. But if you ask me to pick his best performance, I mean, I cannot actually name one film, but I would say uh, among the films like, one is, of course, Do Duni Char, where he played a college teacher,
Yeah.
and then Chandni, and then Laila Majnu. These are the films actually where he, then Sagar, where he performed various kinds of roles, and won everybody's appreciation. And if you look at his acting, actually his characters he played in the recent years, actually his acting capabilities were explored only in these films. Earlier he was fixed in that role of the romantic hero, the quintessential romantic hero. Yeah, but if you look at his recent films, I mean, you said 102 Not Out, then of course D-Day,
Absolutely.
then you had Do Duni Char, you had Agnipath,
Yeah.
and these are the films where he actually
Yeah.
excelled as an actor,
and
and it actually was visible that he was enjoying his second innings.
enjoying his
But
second
he
innings.
went too soon. I mean, he had at least 15 more years of acting in him, I would say.
Yes, Utpal, you said he was enjoying, Rishi Kapoor was enjoying his second innings. What a comeback, what a comeback. And then, his negative roles in Agnipath, D-Day were also indeed fascinating. Dipanita Sharma, as if this particular week, people's emotions are being put to test. Already distressing times because of the global pandemic, and now this loss. Dipanita Sharma.
Yes. Yeah, I think very tough times. We barely got over the shock of Irrfan Khan, Mr. Irrfan Khan, and then we hear about Rishi Kapoor, sir. And I don't know what to say. It really feels like a very personal loss at this time, as if we were not already going through such difficult times that we have to get such bad news. I mean, it has been a lot of bad news in any case. Uh, uh, Irfan sir was one of the first people, celebrities that I had actually bumped into, and I actually wrote something because I was so emotional so I wrote something, and I sort of recollected all of the times that I'd met him and interacted with him, and The fact that we have lost talents who had so many more good years, to them is, and that too in such quick succession, is something sort of unfathomable and very, very heartbreaking. Uh, and like whoever I'm talking to, everyone seems to say that it really feels like a personal loss. Really feels like.
Now, what is it in Rishi Kapoor that stands out in your view, Dipandita?
Uh, I think, as far as Rishi Kapoor sir is concerned, I think he lit up the screen every time he graced it. That's what I said. When I wrote about him, he would walk into a frame and you're looking at him, and and he also was someone, I think, who got better and better with age. And like when I saw him in Agnipath and the negative part he did, I just couldn't get over his performance. How brilliant he was. I mean, he was this romantic hero all his life, and you saw him as this sweet boy next door, and suddenly he goes and changes that whole persona for a character. And I think that's a true trait of a really great actor.
Absolutely, absolutely. Adil Hussain, we cannot compare two actors really. Everybody has their own distinct identity, distinct acting skills and acting style. But when you look back, do you think there is anything that you would like remember about both Irrfan Khan that strikes you? Why is it that he was so popular in Hollywood? Because you are among the others who have also acted in crossover films. You have acted together with Irrfan Khan in The Life of Pi and so on. You have acted in several other Hollywood movies. My question is, what is it that, because every single star is not invited to, act in international big banner films. What is it that must have appealed to the global cinematic world or filmmakers?
There are a few factors, but the most important factors, one of the most important factors, I guess, is the fact that the kind of realism that international films or directors are fond of or prefer is the realism, very, very realistic acting, true acting. When I say true, it doesn't mean that the genre of Indian film industry is a bit different, a bit larger than life, a bit Parsi theater style, a bit over the top. In European cinema or in Hollywood cinema, most I'm talking about, I'm generalizing it, but I'm saying the most of the Hollywood films or European films, they look for very understated, very, very internalized acting. And not every actor in India, in fact, most actors in India are not trained to internalize it and let the face or eyes, to be left alone. Like in order to express anger or sadness, you don't have to do all this with the eyes. So the truth of the emotions that you feel, and let the camera come to you and capture you instead of you expressing and reaching out to the camera. So that's a fundamental difference according to my perception that Irrfan and very few actors in India are capable of, which is preferred by the Europeans and American film industry. Apart from that you also, I'm not saying there are, apart from Irrfan and few others, those who have crossed over, they are not capable, but also the factor that once you act in a film and you have auditioned, the casting director has cast you, and the film does well, then you find an agent or a manager who is going to also look for roles for the actor. So that's marketing also, which helps an actor to cross over. So these are the two main factors, I think, for a person like Irrfan, which is the capability of internalization and intensity of his truth, which explores the moment in the given circumstance inside the script or the narrative or the character that he plays.
Absolutely, very, very well put there, Adil Hussain. Rupa Barua, I mean, Rishi Kapoor, again, coming back to the focus, because we are centering tonight's discussion on these two very, very unique actors. I was trying to find out, that a lot of people like Rishi Kapoor or have liked Rishi Kapoor for various different traits. From a chocolate boy hero, he transformed into his negative roles later in life, and a very, very strong second innings. So how best do you remember Rishi Kapoor?
Yes. Again, somebody so different from Irrfan Khan, but at the same time so likable, so adored. His songs, we all grew up with it. Every one of them resonates today. I think they have made the most remakes of his songs than anybody else. So that whole likability, that whole little, crush image for women, that father, that grandfather in Mr. Kapoor, very recently.
Yeah.
Again, where do you get somebody like that with the generosity of a soul that he would portray to his characters? So very different actors again, but they all came together as very, very likable by the audiences.
Now you see, Rupa, we have seen many actors whose heydays we thought were over, but they have made strong comebacks. We just discussed this a short while back. What do you think of Rishi Kapoor's comeback? Only as recently as 2018, 102 Not Out alongside Amitabh Bachchan, and of course many other in the recent past that he had acted in his comeback films. Rupa.
They were very sensible in the roles that they portrayed. Rishi Kapoor knew that his chocolatey, good boy looks were over many, many years ago. And he was very mature to go into the next set of roles that probably people would love him, and they did. I mean, look at all the names that you just mentioned. For me, personally, Kapoor and Sons was the biggest. He was the thespian of the family, and he brought the family together in those last portraits where he wanted the Kapoor and Sons portrait. Where do you get, it touches everybody's heart. And especially when we look at Hindi films, which we live vicariously through our films, right? Indians, we love to live vicariously through our films. And he portrayed that, all the way from Bobby to Kapoor and Sons, 102 Not Out. He portrayed, the entire gamut of the kind of people, of the kind of men that we have around us. So very, very likable.
Absolutely,
very likable.
Absolutely. Dipannita, any Irrfan Khan starrer that has been your favorite? Or is it too difficult to choose one? Dipannita.
Oh my God, one favorite is so difficult. I've said this. I have dug out some of his oldest films where he has parts which are so small, but not him. He's outstanding in whatever he does. Whether you give him, he started his career with maybe like a single scene, films like Salaam Bombay. He had done television serials such as Chandrakanta, and everywhere you see him and he excels, And for me, I think favorite performances is so difficult when it comes to Irrfan sir, because I'm a True Blue fan, and I think, I think Namesake and, films like The Warrior and whatever appearances he has made in all the Hollywood films, international films. When I see him, I feel so happy and so proud, and they're all very special to me.
Right. Utpal, you see, Irrfan Khan, we're talking about Irrfan Khan, powerful yet low profile, versatile, yet potential, perhaps not fully exploited by Bollywood. The Namesake, Pan Singh Tomar, what performances? Do you agree that perhaps Irrfan's potential was not fully exploited by Bollywood or, for that matter, Indian cinema?
Yeah, I mean, Irrfan was absolutely out of the world. I mean, if you see even his very early films, I mean, where there was a short film called I think Highway, where he and Nawazuddin Siddiqui had acted when they were almost nobodies. I mean, it's an absolutely absorbing film. And then, of course, you look at his famous roles like Namesake. Namesake, I would say, is his most nuanced performance. And then you have many other films like Karwa, recently Hindi medium, Angrezi medium, which was his last film to be released. And then we had many other films where he actually kind of, you know, brilliantly and portrayed his characters. And he was an effortless actor. He kind of, you almost felt like he was the character. I mean, usually what happens is that when you become a very big star actor, usually people see the star first and the character next. He was one actor where you would see the character immediately.
Right, right. Before I go to a break, Adil Hussain, actors are individual people. It's just like a tennis player. You play for yourself, but an actor is slightly different than that. Although your individual performances, you are propelled to great heights. You have tremendous amount of fans. But for actors like you, for example, or for that matter, Irrfan Khan, being lapped up, if I may use the word, by Hollywood from India, do you think that also helps keep the nation in limelight, apart from that individual actor's own heights that he achieves?
I don't know how to answer that question. Yes, I think that very, very strangely that India hasn't, Indian actor yet hasn't, any Indian actor could not yet get an Oscar. There are reasons, there are technical reasons also, not necessarily the problem of talent at all. But when an actor represents oneself and the film, because actors are part of a storytelling, they are not individuals, they're not stand-up comic, or they don't perform alone. It's a very, very composite art, and they are part of all great actors are part of a story. They don't consider themselves bigger than the story. I have not met any actor who I consider amazing and great actor. They always keep themselves under the story, like they are just an instrument to tell the story. And if that story or a film gets acclaim or amazing audience love, then obviously the nationality of that actor comes in, and that would definitely make the country where that actor is from known, which is amazing. Like, for example, actor like the Italian actor who played in Life is Beautiful. He represented a film, but also he's from Italy. And so he is representing Italy.
Yeah.
And Italian actors have a history of great acting as well. So that way, yes, I would say, though in individual art, but it's in a composite form, and also it represents the nation, the psyche of the nation, the kind of cultural background that you have grown up with, all those things. Like when I received the Amanda Awards, Norwegian National Award, I dedicated it to Gwalpara for the simple reason that if I wouldn't have been born there, and the cultural vibrancy that the town had, or it still has, I wouldn't be who I am in terms of understanding acting, So, of course, it's a personal endeavor, but at the same time, the gift of the place that you are born, that is also appreciated.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll go for a short break, but don't go away, viewers. When I come back, I'll continue this conversation with these four very, very amazing actors and filmmakers and take this discussion forward. come back, Dipannita Sharma, what could fans be actually looking in a star, particularly if a star is already an icon? My question is, do you think fans expect more all the time?
I think with fans, the stars become so part of your life. I think fans always want you to. They firstly, I think, start thinking that all of that you portray on screen is probably a part of you, right? Some way or the other. So in that sense, I think they always feel like they are they belong to us. Fans always feel that, and that's a great feeling, to feel that this icon belongs to us. And which is why I think they always expect you to speak up for causes, expect you to speak up when there is something going on, expect because people, they feel like people listen to the icon. So I think, of course, that the expectations are very high and the pressure is very high as well.
Now, you see, Dipannita, you have done several films. Will it be correct to conclude that Bollywood not always, provides the opportunity to talented actors? So do you think a lot of people are now saying that, oh well, it's true that Irrfan Khan passed away aged at only 53. He had a lot of films left, but he could have got much more opportunities in Bollywood which he did not get, and therefore he was lapped up by Hollywood, and people are trying to bring about a comparison there.
Uh, I think that's an ongoing debate that has been going on forever. And I feel Bollywood and Hollywood are two different settings. There are different ways of working. People like to work in a different way. In Bollywood, I think for the longest time, there's been a segregation between, oh, this is a star and that is an actor. And I think that segregation has kept a lot of talent away from the audiences. I truly believe that. And which is why it is so heartbreaking that we don't have Irrfan amongst us anymore, because
Right.
he almost bridged that gap, he almost bridged that gap because he was doing his solo leads, he was in the commercial space, but he was also doing these really different cinema. He had crossed over to Hollywood, so the balance was amazing, and I think we are slowly getting there. And hopefully there'll be more.
Okay. Rupa Barua, what do you think, Rupa? Do you agree with what Dipannita has said? That, perhaps Bollywood didn't give much of an opportunity. He could have got much more, or you want to take a middle path on that?
I don't think so, because if you look, he was not typecast as anything. Irrfan Khan could have played anything and gotten away with it, only because he was such a subtle actor. Look at his face, look at the way he emotes. He's the most subtle of them all. So he did get, he did get his fair share. Yes, I mean, he would not, he would probably not, replenish Shah Rukh Khan for a role. When Shah Rukh Khan did not want to do a role, maybe the next choice was not Irrfan Khan, but rightfully so. They are very, very different characters. But Irrfan Khan did play the entire range of roles, and everybody loved him for the particular role that he played in that particular film. So I think he did his bit. He was never crazy to become, the biggest star out there. So he just did what he wanted to do. And I mean, look at his Hollywood. I mean, some of the biggest movies that went to the Oscars had him in them, and in very, very legitimate roles. It wasn't just a little indie film coming out of India that was pushed to the Oscars. These were like big films, especially like A Life of Pi, if you think about it. Very big, very philosophical films, So he chose his roles well.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Adil, I mean, this is a very hypothetical question, though. But what has been your experience? Because you are picked up for very, very fascinating roles both within and outside the country. What has been your experience? Is it just talent? Is it an actor's profile? Is it an actor's persona? What is it actually? Or as many people say, oh, you should have the right connections, you should belong to a family of film actors, but you are not there. You are right in front of us, who doesn't belong to a film family at all, nowhere nowhere near that.
I don't know if I've understood your question correctly, but what I have perceived from what Dipanita said and what Rupa said, I think it's a mix of both. Very shortly, if I can say that Indian film industry has gone through its changes in terms of its theme and the narrative style and its stylization, right from, if you see early 60s and 50s, and when Gurudutt was there, Raj Kapoor was there, they're ruling it. And then there is this parallel cinema by Minal Sen, Tapan Sinha, Satyajit Ray, Adur Gopal Krishnan, and people like that. So Hindi film industry always had, there was the element of commerce sort of dominated more and more slowly, it sort of tipped the balance. So in that, also the kind of directors and the writers and the producers, especially those who put the money, they were extremely brutal to get back their money, and they found a formula which sells. So, and in that milieu, in that situation, the actors, those who look like a certain way, and the kind of hero, the idea of hero, the body of a hero, the color, skin color of a hero, all these things, I think, became, the factors, how the films were made, and the distributors have played their roles, and the entire corporatization of the film industry later since last 10 years. So all that played a very important, and then the market came in and the PR agencies came in, and if you don't have a PR agency, if you don't have a certain amount of followers on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or what have you, it's a crazy situation. And in that, actor like Irrfan Khan, who wanted to stay in low profile, it's very difficult to say, but I would categorically say that Irrfan, like even I talked about Sridevi, when she passed away, that she, according to me, she is at par with Meryl Streep had she been given a chance. Apart from very few films like Chandni or Sadma, which was long back when I saw English Vinglish, very few scripts had that potential for an actor to sort of, get into the skin and open up the heart and soul and breathe life into the role. So Irrfan, I'm sure that he always, I just saw an interview that he missed writing, and so I keep also talking about that we have very, very poor writing standard in India. And it is sweeping, I'm making a sweeping comment, and it is true that very few directors, writers, they spend time on writing.
Adil,
the film literature is very poor.
Thank God you didn't become an English professor, which your parents wanted to. Your dad wanted you to become an English professor, and thank God you didn't become one. Otherwise, your students would have had a tough time, getting one essay through. Anyway, we'll talk about that some other.
I'm not a good writer, so there is no question about it. I'm very finicky about good writing, but I'm not a good writer.
We'll talk about that on some other occasion. Utpal Barpujari, if I may ask you the question in a slightly different way, Utpal, Why do you think an actor like Irrfan Khan was so popular in some of the films he made in UK and the United States and of course Hollywood?
Yeah, I think he was like he. If you look at him, he is the actually the first Indian global actor. I mean, he was in a Japanese TV series. He was in Spider-Man. He was in Jurassic World, and he was in. He was in Inferno. I mean,
Inferno,
endless.
yeah.
I mean, and if you, I mean, we had actors like Om Puri, Shabana Azmi, I mean, Shashi Kapoor acting in Hollywood films earlier, but Irrfan is one face in one Indian face which is recognized worldwide. I mean, that's how if you looked at the reaction worldwide at his passing yesterday, it proved his popularity across the across nations.
Yeah. Rupa Barua, I'm running short of time. I'll skip a few things which I wanted to ask you, Rupa Barua. But cinema in the times of COVID, Rupa Barua, huge transformations coming in the days ahead. What is your prediction? Because cinema and filmmaking is never perhaps going to be the same again.
Yes, paradigm shift completely for us. As for the rest of the world, every industry has to think how to move post-COVID, and we are all also in that same boat. I don't think we should just wait for June 1st when the lockdowns stop in Bombay, Mumbai, and we say, oh, we go back to the studios and we finish, we start making new films, just as we did, pre-COVID. I think the world has changed. We need to be very light on our footprint as we go forward. We need to be able to take stories that are lean, mean, and deliver a message. And just think, this is my time, as an artist, I'm sitting home and thinking, what happened? And how we can take this forward. There's a lot of introspection going on. So the industry is also doing that right now. Budgets have to be made such that films can be made very tight. I read a BBC article yesterday saying that BBC was drying up on their content. So now what are they going to do? They are going to quarantine all their actors and quarantine all the cast, get the shoot done, and then take them out of there. So, if you have to be part of something, you'll be with this cast of characters for a month. Do it and get out. So the whole model of work will change. Also, very light on the footprint. That
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, Dipannita, what transformations in film watching, filmmaking do you predict, do you see in the days ahead? Because the world has become suddenly a different place altogether.
Yeah. It'll be a new world, I really believe. I think we are going to have a new normal, as we are going to have in our general life as well. The way we meet people, the way we interact, all of it. Especially, say, an industry like Bollywood, a film industry, anywhere across the world. For at least, I think, a year, you won't be able to have a really big production. You won't be able to have a gathering of a lot of people on a set, So these are things which are a reality. And I was in the middle of my first production. It was in post-production, actually. And right now, nothing is happening, right? So, so these are very harsh realities, but we are going to have to accept that and see how to work around it.
Utpal, what changes? What changes await us? Utpal Barpujari.
It's one thing is for sure that now everything has come to a standstill. Worldwide. And it includes the entertainment industry. And as we all know, that entertainment is not a kind of priority for anybody right now. It's now about your livelihood, about your health, about your the unemployed. So.
Okay. So it's about a lot of things are changing. Everyone is saying. Adil Hussain, do you think big budget films, because you have acted in that huge big budget web series Star Trek. So these are very, very big ventures. But look at Bollywood also closer home, multi-crore rupee films, 100 crores, 200 crores, 300 crores film. Do you think these will be a thing of the past? Do you think theatre experience will not be there so easily in the near future? What do you think?
Well, theater viewing is, become optional anyways because huge budget films are being released on Netflix online, including Roma, and there are so many other films. So I don't think theater viewing would be, it would be a big situation because people are watching things online. For single screen theaters, in India, I don't know anything about it, so I'm not qualified to talk about it. But very interestingly, I had a chat with my agent yesterday, not yesterday, last night, when it was day in California, in Los Angeles. She said that very interestingly that in the midst of the COVID-19 lockdown, one of the directors, I'm forgetting the name, I can give it to you later, had finished a film, a full-fledged film in the lockdown.
Really?
So as
Okay.
Rupa was mentioning that, Rupa was mentioning that, we are creative people. When I say we, I mean human beings are creative people, and especially in India, we are very, 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 very famous for jugaad. So I'm sure that we will find a way. We'll find a way to shoot our films. We will find a way to make sure that we'll go back, not necessarily the normal that we had tasted before COVID-19, but a new normal. But we will go back to our lives with a lot of wisdom and realization and reflection. What is important? What are the values that we should now pursue rather than the kind of opulence that we were after? I think we would understand what austerity means, what frugality means. And I hope that artists, especially artists, and I hope that the political class as well, that the fact that we are realizing that there are so many other kinds of heroes, not only one kind of heroes, the economists will be the heroes in the next phase as we open up. The political class will be heroes if they do their job properly.
Absolutely.
To bring our country. So we'll find a way out.
Right. Rupa, we are talking about the normal and the new normal. My question is, what could be the new normal as far as film watching, filmmaking is concerned?
I think the length is not an issue. The length will always be there. But till they find a vaccine or a cure for COVID, I don't think there'll be a big budget. Essentially means, a lot of people, a lot of people on the floor. That I don't think will happen. We will have to go very lean, mean. And when I say that, when you look at Hollywood versus Bollywood, when you go to a soundstage in Bollywood, there's 200 people standing there. And, you can get at least 75 to 100 of them out of there if you're doing the same film in Hollywood. So I think we'll have to go to that world where we are, extremely efficient in the way we work. And yes, when it comes to big budget and, big people, it has to be post this world. I don't think it's sustainable right now.
Absolutely. Dipannita, challenges before producers and directors in the days ahead?
The challenges, I think, to begin with, that you'll have to postpone a lot of plans, the big plans that you had. And maybe figure out a way of working around it and do smaller productions and think more, theater releases are going to be an issue. Like we already know that, right? Yeah.
Okay. Theater releases are going to be an issue. Last word to you, Adil Hussain. Last word to you. Cinema going to become lean, mean, as Rupa is saying, or what do you have to say? Finally.
I have no idea. I think, as I said before, that we will find a way out, and it has to be organic. It cannot be forced upon. It has to take care of all the consequences COVID-19 is going to create, and especially filmmaking, where amount of people they come in together. If the industries can run, factories can run, then I'm sure that we will find a way out to do our things. Filmmaking will happen in a different way. That much I can say. But it is going to continue, of course.
Of course, it is going to continue with whatever different way, we don't know yet, but yes, it is going to continue. As they say, the show must go on. I'd like to thank all my panelists for finding time for this very engaging discussion. Adil Hussain, Dipanita Sharma, Rupa Barwa, Utpal Pujari, thank you very much indeed for speaking to me on this special show. And thanks the viewers for watching the program.